Before Socrates, there were thinkers who dared to ask, what is the universe really made of? Their answers laid the foundation for both philosophy and science. For centuries, the ancient Greeks explained the natural world through the lens of mythology. Lightning was the sudden wrath of Zeus, and the seasons were the bitter result of Demeter's grief. However, in the 6th century BCE, a radical shift occurred in the city-states of Ionia. This was the monumental transition from mythos to logos, moving from traditional stories about gods to rational explanations based on systematic observation. These early thinkers, known as the Pre-Socratics, began to look for the arche, the fundamental starting point or primordial origin of all things. They didn't just want to know who was responsible for the world, they wanted to know what the world actually was. By seeking a single unifying principle that governed the diversity of nature, they set humanity on a permanent path toward logic, physics, and the scientific method. It was a revolutionary moment where wonder met reason, transforming the way we perceive reality forever.
Our journey begins in the prosperous port city of Miletus with Thales, the man traditionally called the very first philosopher. Imagine him standing at the edge of the Aegean Sea, watching the waves roll in. Thales looked at the world and saw one substance that was absolutely essential for life, capable of changing forms from liquid to solid ice to invisible steam and present almost everywhere: water. He famously declared that everything is water. While this sounds simplistic today, it was actually a revolutionary moment in human history. By suggesting that a single physical substance, what the Greeks called the arche, could explain the incredible diversity of nature, Thales was the first to seek a naturalistic explanation for the universe rather than a divine one. He wasn't looking for a myth about Poseidon, he was looking for a rational principle. He even imagined the Earth floating like a log on a vast celestial ocean, initiating the great quest for a unified theory of reality. In this one bold claim, Thales moved humanity away from poetic myth and toward the very foundations of scientific inquiry. Building on Thales' foundation, his student Anaximander took the search for the arche, the first principle, to a far more abstract and sophisticated level. He spotted a major logical problem. If the fundamental substance was water, how could it ever produce its direct opposite, fire? To Anaximander, the source of everything had to be something entirely different from the physical elements we see around us. He called it the Apeiron, which translates to the boundless or the infinite. Visualize a swirling, eternal vortex of energy, a cosmic soup that contains the seeds of all things before they ever take specific shape. But Anaximander wasn't just a mystic, he was a radical proto-scientist. He created the first map of the known world and proposed a shockingly modern theory that life originated in the sea and that humans eventually evolved from fish-like creatures who transitioned to dry land. For him, the universe was a self-regulating system of balance. Everything that emerges from the Apeiron eventually returns to it, paying the penalty for its existence according to the laws of time. It's a vision of a universe that is vast, cyclical, and incredibly deep. Moving from the coast of Asia Minor to the island of Samos, we encounter the legendary and mysterious Pythagoras. For Pythagoras, the secret of the universe wasn't a physical substance like water or air, but something far more elegant: mathematics. He and his followers famously declared that all is number. This wasn't just an abstract idea, it was a profound discovery triggered by music. Pythagoras realized that musical intervals could be expressed in precise mathematical ratios. For instance, an octave is a perfect 2-to-1 ratio. If you have the length of a vibrating string, the pitch jumps exactly 1 octave. This revealed a hidden, harmonious order behind the sounds we hear. Pythagoras saw geometry and arithmetic as the very fabric of reality itself. To the Pythagoreans, the number 1 represented the point, 2 represented the line, 3 the surface, and 4 the solid. By combining these, you literally build the entire physical world out of the purity of numbers. They even believed the cosmos followed these laws, creating a harmony of the spheres. To Pythagoras, mathematics was a sacred language that unlocked the mysteries of the soul.
But Pythagoras was just as much a mystic as he was a mathematician. He founded a secretive community that followed incredibly strict rules. Legends even suggest they avoided eating beans for spiritual reasons. This community believed the soul was immortal and underwent a long series of reincarnations. Pythagoras taught that by studying the mathematical order of the universe, one could actually purify the soul and finally escape the cycle of rebirth. This led to his most enchanting concept, the harmony of the spheres. He proposed that as the planets and stars move through the heavens, they follow exact mathematical proportions, creating a celestial music that is simply too refined for human ears to hear. For Pythagoras, the universe wasn't just a random collection of matter. It was a cosmos, a word he coined meaning an ordered and beautiful whole. In his world, science and spirituality were never at odds. They were one and the same. When he explored geometric patterns or musical ratios, he wasn't just doing homework. He was uncovering the sacred, divine language of reality.
As we move toward the 5th century BCE, the quest for the arche, the ultimate substance, leads us to the most modern-sounding theory of the ancient world, atomism. In the coastal city of Abdera, Democritus and his mentor Leucippus proposed a radical thought experiment. Imagine taking a piece of silver or a loaf of bread and cutting it in half, then half again and again. They argued you couldn't do this forever. Eventually, you would reach a particle so tiny and so solid that it was uncuttable. In Greek, atomos. Democritus famously claimed that the entire universe consists of only 2 things, atoms and the void. He pictured these indestructible, infinite particles, each with different shapes, some hooked, some smooth, some jagged, whirling through empty space. When they collide and entangle, they form the physical world, from the vast mountains to the very souls of human beings. Perhaps most revolutionary was his rejection of divine design. In this mechanical universe, things don't happen because of a God's whim. They happen by necessity, driven by the sheer mechanical laws of matter and motion. It was a bold, brilliant, and remarkably prophetic vision of reality.
As we move further along this intellectual timeline, other thinkers added layers of complexity to this growing picture of the cosmos. Take Empedocles, for instance. He looked at the search for a single substance and essentially asked, why settle for just one? He proposed that reality is built from 4 roots: earth, air, fire, and water. But he added a dynamic twist. He introduced the first cosmic forces, love and strife. Think of them as the ultimate attraction and repulsion. Love pulls the elements together into unity, while strife tears them apart, creating an eternal cycle of life and death. Shortly after, Anaxagoras brought philosophy to the heart of Athens, introducing the revolutionary concept of nous, or mind. He argued that the universe began as a chaotic, motionless mixture of all things. But then, a cosmic intelligence set it into a powerful spinning motion, a celestial vortex. This motion organized the chaos into the structured, beautiful world we inhabit today. These thinkers were crucial. They bridged the gap between the early materialists and the complex systems of the future. They didn't just ask what the world is made of. They asked what moves it and what gives it order.
Why do these pre-Socratic thinkers still fill us with wonder today? It's because they were the first to believe that the human mind, your mind, is capable of unlocking the secrets of nature through reason alone. They initiated the most significant pivot in human history, the move from mythos to logos. Instead of attributing a thunderstorm to a god's whim, they searched for a natural arche, or first principle. They moved us away from a world of caprice and shadows into a world of laws and logic. By asking what the world is made of and how it works, they invented the very idea of the scientist and the philosopher. Think back on what we've explored together, from Thales' foundational water to Democritus's atomos, those uncuttable particles, and Pythagoras' sacred mathematical ratios. Their legacy is the bedrock of our modern world. They taught us that beneath the surface of our daily lives, there is a deep, rational harmony, a cosmos, waiting to be discovered by anyone brave enough to ask the right questions. These pioneers proved that the universe is not a mystery to be feared, but a beautiful puzzle waiting to be solved.